Brett and Cameron, welcome to the Pre-Construction Podcast.
Hey, Gareth. Thanks for having us.
Love it. This is a relationship born from Precon World that's just continued to evolve. Met the two guys in Precon World, had a blast, and we just wanted to continue the conversation. So, Brett, before we start, can you give us a quick overview of yourself and your company, please?
Sure. So my name is Brett Backus. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of 11 Western Builders. On top of that, I'm a third-generation family owner over here. This company was founded by my dad in 1982. We incorporated in 83. At the time, fast food was our backbone. McDonald's was our first client. And, we built for McDonald's through the 90s, started grocery in 1994. Albertsons companies quickly became one of our largest clients. In the early 2000s, we got into big box, Winco, Walmart, big box distribution, stuff like that. In the kind of the late teens, 2018, we transitioned into hospitality as well. So we still do everything today. We still build for McDonald's today. I think we've closed out close to 5,000 contracts for the company since 83. So, we are built on relationships, and we have like a 97% client return rate. Our specialty is retail construction, and we've taken that mindset through to big box and hospitality in that, what we're here to do for the clients is open cash registers. And we do that with expeditious construction schedules, competitive budgets, and, at the end of the day, just a solid team building the projects.
Brilliant. What an intro. Listen, the only one thing, and I love quantifiables, the one thing that stands out there, 97% return rate. What do you put that down to, Brett, before we get into the main topic of today?
So a lot of our clients, they build on a prototype model. So they have one or three prototypes, and they've got large ambitions. Almost like a rollout program for ground up. So when a client comes to us and says, hey, we want to build 100 of these, or, we want 2,000 of these, ultimately, we can, identify efficiencies in their programs and build, 10 or 15 at a time, throughout the year. That can be 20 to 30 stores a year for a client. And I think that our ability to do that and our honest approach to the business in general just keeps people coming back.
Brilliant. Saving time and money. Why not, says I. That's great. Now, the one topic, we caught up at Precon World, had a blast. There was lots of topics flying around, but one thing that kind of struck a chord between myself and yourselves was the art and science of estimating. Give me an idea of, from the contractor side we all know pre-construction is the most important part within the construction ecosystem. Give me an idea now of the art and science and what the difference is.
Perfect. So Cam sitting next to me is our chief estimator. So I want him to take this one and we'll tag team it together.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the art and science of estimating is a topic that's been thrown around our office here internally for the last couple of years. And whenever we identify potential candidates or new players coming up through the industry that we're looking to hire, we always try to identify which side of that spectrum that they operate on. So the art of estimating lies in relationship building and knowing your team, having a strong network of what I'll call pocket contractors, and knowing that you can call on somebody whenever you need them to deliver you a last minute budget or a number or whatever that may be. Whereas the science of estimating would be the guy that needs what we call his laboratory. So we put him in a room with a scale and a calculator and a set of plans and some highlighters, and he gets down into the nitty gritty, the unit cost, the understanding of obviously full tilt scope of a project, and can identify nuances, can look at the drawings and really pick them apart. Now, we believe that there has to be a conglomerate of both of those, items in a person. And what we're looking for is the middle ground guy, the guy that can do both things, that can develop and maintain and foster relationships while also understanding the unit cost and the pricing schedules and understanding, full tilt scopes as well.
Brilliant. I love that, Cam. So you're trying to tell me now, and this is me pushing back on you, you want somebody that can speak to the client, an extrovert that can be good with numbers. That is near on impossible. And probably, Brett, Cam's probably the only man that can do that in the country.
Believe it or not, we've got another one across this wall. We've got one 2 walls over.
Love it.
They are, it is a needle in a haystack, but you can find, the Da Vinci's of the trade here.
Yeah. Come here, tell me this now. So I agree with you. Everything that you said, Cam, is 100% right? But sometimes it's really difficult to find that magic, the person that has both. What do you think, and the way that construction is evolving, that 90% repeat business, or 97% hit rate on repeat business, is the art more important now, or is the science more important, or are we looking for technology to complement the science?
Absolutely. So that's the beauty about the evolvement of technology in our industry. We're in the process of implementing Destiny with the Beck Group, Beck Tech, and understanding that will allow us to better track historical data, to store that data and have it live in a place where it's readily accessible to the entire team. And so, yes, I think to answer your question, technology plays a huge role in allowing the guys that are more geared towards the art of estimating to become more scientific and have the data at their fingertips to better themselves at the science portion of it. Again, I think it's hard to have both of those. It's having your cake and eating it too, right? Yeah. Having a client-centric guy that can be in front of the curtain, and then have a guy that can be the same guy behind the curtain and putting together this magic on paper and identifying the cost of a project and then being able to present it. It is tough, but technology is helping that evolution.
Yeah. And listen, the ideal scenario is the guy that's in the back room with the ruler and the set of plans, for him to be able to come out, because there's no one better to explain the numbers and explain the value engineering and explain the money saving for the client than this guy, because he's been there, he's done it, he spent 2 or 3 days looking at it. But it's not always the case. Do you think there's a case for a complementing partnership? So someone that does the science, and then someone that delivers the art and talks about the numbers and the storytelling?
Sure, absolutely. There's a lot of scenarios where the guy that's working behind the curtain will not be the same guy that's presenting to the client, but the guy that is presenting to the client has to have conviction in those numbers. He has to have confidence in what the guy behind the curtain is doing. So in 90% of these cases, it's better if it is the same guy, because he has that conviction, he has that background knowledge, he's been living in this project for a month, 2 months, whatever that process may be, and then he comes out and presents it, and the client will know that guy is the guy, he's the confident guy, and he can have what I call conviction in his numbers.
And there's nothing better than being in that for a bid day and the client's asking you questions, rather than having to go away and say, right, I'll come back to you on that. Being able to just bat it out of the park there and then.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you want to, one of my biggest sayings that I use a lot in this department is, you don't have to know the answer to everything, but know where to go to find it. Right.
Yeah, I love it. And then that's where the subs come in as well. If you're getting subs in early, that you can actually speak to the subs and get the answers to the questions, kind of almost foresee what questions are going to come down the line.
Sure. And that's another huge part of the art aspect of estimating. A lot of guys are client centric, they're client facing, they want to foster the relationships on the client side. One thing that I'm seeing fall off with the younger generation, like ourselves, that are coming up through the ranks, is they don't turn around and face their subs enough. They don't have the relationships built on the back end of things in order to be able to present to a client intelligently. You have to build a team around you on both sides of this coin. You have to have the client relationships, right? But you also have to have the subcontractors relationship, and you have to have them in their best interest in mind as you're writing these contracts. Those guys behind you are the horses pulling the wagon. I mean, we're general contractors. We're jack of all trade, master of none. We have to rely on the experts in these certain areas and disciplines in order for us to be successful.
Yeah. How dangerous is that when you don't have the relationship with the sub and you just plug in numbers?
Oh, it's detrimental. Brett, I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah, I mean that in my opinion converts what we're doing from a business activity to gambling. It's playing blackjack, and we're not here to gamble. I mean, it increases the risk exponentially. So that's, the difference between art and science of estimating really comes down to whether or not you're brokering bids, and we're not a bid broker. So it's, if you don't have a complete understanding of your scope, if every single sub bid hasn't been qualified off your own internal takeoffs, then you're gambling.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm sorry to say it, but I mean, obviously my day to day is interviewing estimators and pre-construction managers. It is scary how many people are gambling out there right now, just because of the market, especially last year. It's kind of calmed down a little bit this year, but last year it was a case of just get them out there, just get the bids out there, and we'll worry about it later. And the really good young, and we'll go into 11 Western now, the really good young companies that are putting pre-construction services at the forefront of their mission and their strategy are outperforming everyone else. So they're using the talent that they have, the technology that they have, and they're outperforming their competitors.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you mentioned just getting the bids out there, and especially in a market like this, I think it's common knowledge, but a lot of people don't appreciate the fact that the risk of a general contractor going out of business when times are good is actually much higher than when times are bad. You can grow yourself out of business in a heartbeat. And we've seen that happen around us. So you have to understand, how to cash flow your projects, how to manage your resources, and then not just taking any bid off the street and signing a contract. You can put yourself in a bad situation pretty quickly.
Yeah. And how do you, and this goes back to my next topic, is the technology side of it. Does technology play a part in that when you're trying to mitigate that risk?
It does, and I want to say something on that, because I think there are probably a lot of companies like ours that are in a similar position, right? We're not, we're not a giant company. We're not small. This year we'll do 150 million for the year. But if you look at how we were founded, we were a bootstrapped company started on $2,000 and a dream. I mean, it sounds cliche, but that is the reality of how we started. So our president has been here for almost 35 years. He joined us straight out of Chico State. Between our 3 VPs and our president, we have over 105 years combined experience at 11 Western builders. So, I say this because when the company was founded, we had a handful of key players in a rowboat, and everybody had an oar. And today we're a battleship, but the same people are running the company, which is a good thing. The risk there is all of the institutional knowledge is in their head. So what we've done, we were Excel based from the day we could adopt Excel until until today. We are still Excel. However, we have purchased and are currently implementing Destiny. And the intention with Destiny is, as an estimating backbone, our goal is twofold. One is to break estimating silos, data silos, and the other one is to preserve historical data in a way that it can be used readily. So, we saw a lot of this through COVID. We've got people working from home, people all over the place, and information wasn't always being saved to our servers. Sometimes people would just throw it in their Dropbox. And then next thing you know, this employee leaves. We have, proprietary information leaving with them in a Dropbox, a personal Dropbox account. We're losing data that is then being taken and used elsewhere. And it's no secret that this happens across the industry. So, once we started acknowledging that we had a problem that ultimately equated in higher risk, we started searching out solutions. And after, a handful of demos, Destiny was what we landed on. And it's going to inspire cross-pollination through the team. Cam can be taking point on his bid, and he can be breaking off pieces of scope, whether it's MEP or interior finishes or structure. to different team members throughout our estimating department. And while they're working on it, he can literally see what they're doing on the Destiny side of his screen. And so everything is logged, everything's tracked, every change relates to the accountable party that made the change. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, I think Destiny is going to be the one-stop shop for us. And it sounds like a pitch for Destiny, but really it's true. One-stop shop for us. And I don't think we're going to have to contemplate a change for, the next 2 to 3 decades, if that.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's what you want, because it's a tough process getting the right technology, because there's loads of shiny tools out there. But I want to bring you back to that process, because did you have in your mind 3 or 4 like non-negotiables that this new technology needed to do? What were those non-negotiables, and how did everyone else kind of compare?
Well, the number one thing was price. With all the SaaS options out there, between Procore and, ERP and CRM, and it's just phone calls every day from these companies. And we've adopted quite a few, but it comes at a price. When we're talking price, Destiny is an affordable option. They were very fair with their pricing, to the point that, if we mitigate one transcription error, it pays for it in a year.
Yeah.
So to us, it was a no-brainer. The other things were just usability. Their on-screen takeoff function is very good. It's very usable. The ability to create templates and assemblies, especially in the repeat business that we do. We can template prototypes and literally have almost everything except the site conditions reflected in the spreadsheet from day one. The assemblies are great for self-perform. Really, overall, to me, it was usability. And what I liked was that it was essentially built by a GC.
Yeah.
That to me just kind of made all the difference. And Cam, if you got anything to add.
Well, I think the one thing that really stood out, aside from those all valid points, their dashboard. So their dashboard is easy to view. It's all in one place, whether it's our president or our owners, whoever needs to see what Precon is doing, they can click one time and see the entire dashboard of what's going on in this department. And I really think that's beneficial.
Brilliant. Love it. And then what about subcontractors and clients? Can you give them access? Can you kind of give them the information that they need, or display the information that they need quite easily on their dashboards, or is it all just internally with 11 Western?
Mainly internally for now. One thing that it'll allow us to do, Brett mentioned the on-screen takeoff function. We'll be able to help guide the subcontractors by doing markups and doing some takeoffs. Now, my theory is I don't ever want a subcontractor to bid off of my takeoff. You need to do your homework, and we're not going to. This is not going to be an exhibit to your contract, essentially, right? But I can help. I can guide them. If there's a golden urinal or a unicorn that sits on the roof of a project, I can find it. I can do a markup with Destiny, and then I can flatten it and send it to a subcontractor to lead the horse to water, essentially.
Brilliant. And how important is this going to be? Because you'll hear me out talking on the podcast. To me, success is talent and technology. Once you can merge both and get them working seamlessly, then you have got a serious chance of growing consistently without risk. How important will this be when you're trying to get and merge the art and the science as well?
I think it's going to be vital. So the technology aspect, if you throw this into the mix of what we've talked about with the art and science, the human factor, if you merge those two things together, you'll have an unstoppable individual in pre-construction. If the younger generation, as we all know, is more apt to jump down the technology highway, right? We like the computers, we like being able to have a smartphone in your pocket and be able to do takeoffs on it if you want to. So you bring this to the table, you bring technology, and you make it a big aspect of the department. I feel like you're going to be unstoppable in bringing up the younger generation and getting them involved in pre-construction.
Brilliant. And you're in the middle of implementation now. How's it going?
It's going well. You know, we decided to implement during obviously a very busy time in the industry. So you know, for all those considering it, when you do commit, stay on top of your lesson lead training. That's what moves the ball for training and implementation in general. But you know, it's the team on the Destiny side is on top of it. They're very encouraging. They're super approachable and understanding. We've had over a dozen implementation calls since we purchased it. And I think yesterday was the first day Cam and I had to miss one of them due to a bid review. So we're doing pretty good. You know, we've missed one.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Once you find a partner, it's having a proper partnership, whether that's on the technology side or the talent side. And that's exactly what from my experience with Destiny and Beck Technology, that's what they're very good at. I mean, the product needs to be good, but as you say, customer service implementation, because it's only as good as what you put into it. And if you're willing to do all the training and do the implementation, you've got a chance. And guys, so I mean, it sounds exciting. I mean, it sounds on the talent side, you've got loads of talent in there, the technologies. It's an exciting time for 11 Western. What's next?
Good question. I mean, we've got our eyes set on completing implementation first. You know, the cool thing about Destiny is we're just scratching the surface with Destiny Estimator and Destiny Bid Day. There's you know, other modules that you can add, join build, Toggle AI. You know, Gareth, I think you know more than I do, but we have decided not to add the modules until we reach 100% use of the current, you know, adoption. But you know, talking about behind the curtain and in front of the curtain, the join module, from what I've seen, really helps you take what you built behind the curtain and present it to the client. I mean, if you're in a, you know, if you're in the middle of pre-construction services and the client wants you to consider VE options, you know, if you present them with 10 VE options and they take 2, you can literally, you know, put everything into the join module and show them a graph of what happened when they took the VE. You know, price went down, they denied the VE, price stayed the same or went up. It's just a great visual representation of the entire story of how you got to where you are, which, you know, having gone through these processes without that, I'm really looking forward to mastering what we've purchased quickly and moving into the more advanced modules.
Absolutely. So we're all visual. We're all, as human beings, I think it's 75-80% of us are visual. So being able to do that and being able to then, that's where the real value add, being able to talk through the numbers and talk through the visualization, that's when you can become, and of course your marketing team can use it. I mean, if you're talking about historical data, exciting times. And what about expansion for 11 Western and markets going into, what does the next 5-10 years hold?
Well, so we're kind of a unique company in the way that we operate. We 11 Western Builders literally operates in the 11 Western states. So if anybody Googles us, our logo is our territory. You can add to that Wyoming, Alaska, Hawaii. So because we work for these retail clients and these national and international brands, we go where they need us to go. So our territory for the size of our company is actually quite vast. And it poses certain challenges with our team. I mean, we've got superintendents who will spend a couple years going home every 2 weeks. You know, it's a very demanding business and business model, but what it provides us is a certain buffer against economic uncertainty. So we are well diversified. You know, with the revenue figure that I stated, we complete, you know, around 250 to 275 contracts annually. And we've got, you know, several divisions. So small projects, you know, traditional GC and facility services. Outside of that, we have a self-performed mill shop. So we can do all of our own millwork and interior finishes. So, you know, as far as expansion, you know, I think we do have our eyes set on growth. We've actually grown 51% over the last 2 years. So it's, you know, for the last 20 years, we've been right around 100 million, and we've grown quite a bit over the past too. So a little bit of the plan is to slow the growth, refocus on the fundamentals a little bit, just doing what we do best. If we do expand in the future, I should say we currently have offices. Our corporate office, which we're in, is in San Diego, California. We have an office outside of Sacramento, California, in Rockland, and we have an office in Phoenix, Arizona. If we expand further, it may be, Boise, kind of South Idaho area. It just happens to be home to a few of our major clients and a gateway to the Pacific Northwest.
Brilliant. Wow. I mean, massive excitement. And listen, we're going to sit back and watch it with bated eyes. What about if there's someone listening now and they wanted to reach out with any sort of question, whether it be about the art and the science, about maybe they're thinking about destiny as well? Where's the best place to get you?
Best place to get me? That's a good question. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably, I don't really do social media. But LinkedIn is one thing that I keep on my phone. So anybody who sends me a message or Cam a message through LinkedIn, they could get us direct.
Brilliant. I love it, man. What I'll do is in the show notes below, I'll leave both your LinkedIn profiles. So if they've got a follow-up question, they can just hit you up directly on them with a message.
Perfect. Be happy to answer anything anybody's got.
Brilliant. Cam and Brett, thank you very much. This has been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Gareth.
Thanks for having us, Gareth.
We had a good time.